Hey, it's your friend Nisi here, and welcome to my channel. As you can see by the title of this episode, today we will be talking about why you are not to be blamed for the sexual abuse that you experienced. See, for a very long time, I blamed myself. Why didn't I say something? Why didn't I move? I beat myself up over it for a very, very long time. And one day I learned from a very wonderful person in my life that we don't only have two responses for emergencies, which is your fight or flight. No, we have another very common, but often overlooked reaction to emergencies, and that is freeze. I just absolutely froze. That's the way I responded to something so strange, so new and awkward. I just absolutely froze. I physically froze because my mind was racing. Okay. My mind was like, what is this? Is his hands accidentally in my panties? I mean, does he think I'm sleeping? So I decided to just freeze. I absolutely froze. I mean, hardly even breathing. That's a very common response, just freezing. It's not just fight or flight in emergencies. See, later in life, I had the privilege of working with service dogs, and sometimes I would be out with service dogs teams, and I would be amazed at what these animals would be able to do. I mean, even pet owners would be in awe sometimes. I often heard comments like, "Oh, my dog would never do that. Oh, how come he can do that and my pet can't?" The answer is simple. Your dog wasn't trained to do that, or maybe your dog wasn't built to do that. And that's kind of why I responded the way I did. I mean, I wasn't trained or educated at all how to do anything other. In college, I had a friend, a very good friend, and one day she was in my dorm room and we were watching the Oprah Winfrey Show. And of course, there was an episode on about childhood sexual abuse. And she was like, "Oh, that could have never happened to me." She said, "My mother was drilling me since I could remember. I might have been 3 years old when she was like, 'Z, nobody bathes you but mommy. Only mommy and grandma gives you a bath. And absolutely nobody, I mean nobody, ever touches you there, okay? If they do, you run, you scream, you tell mommy as soon as she gets home.'" And I was like, what? I never heard of a mommy talking like this or giving such instructions. I mean, in the world that I came from, silence is what was the norm. It was like the only person that I was hearing anything about sex, the body, love, boys, girls, the only voice I was hearing was my abuser, okay? And most of what he was saying, if not all of what he was saying, was lies, okay? And I decided then that I was going to be that mommy, okay? I was going to educate. I was going to prepare, because one never knows. And you just, have to give instructions. You have to prepare in case such an emergency would ever come up. I mean, the only way I could possibly blame myself for my reaction is realistically blaming myself for not receiving instructions, not receiving proper, careful instructions that would have prepared me for such a, horrendous assault. And most children don't even realize you're being assaulted. You think an assault looks like, a masked man jumping out of a van. No, it was assault. And I wasn't prepared. I mean, in elementary school, there was constant fire drills, and my school never caught on fire, but being properly trained and prepared in case of emergency is of the utmost importance. I mean, if there was an elementary school that never prepared and one day there was a fire and the teacher starts screaming, "Run!" Children are scattering, some hide under the desk. I mean, of course, there would be children hurt, probably lives lost. And at the end, who would intelligently and wisely blame the children? No one. So that is just how ridiculous it is to blame yourself for what happened to you. Another reason that you cannot blame yourself for the sexual abuse that you experienced is because you might not have been a physical match for your predator. You see, there were times in my teenage years that I was full of anger issues. I mean, all of my responses became fight. And I realized that even, someone of my frame can bring down a much larger adult with an elbow to the nose. However, that was not my reality at 7 years old. I only became that teenager full of anger issues after years of sexual abuse and then years of being in foster care. It was unreasonable for me 10, 20, and even 30 years later to be blaming myself for not delivering that elbow to the nose. See, if you find yourself questioning yourself about why you didn't do ... please know that it may be because you didn't have those skills and ability at that time. Again, I'll bring back a service dog scenario. Suppose you are in the airport and you see a nice, big, large service dog pulling his handler in a manual wheelchair through the airport, no sweat. I mean, and then you look down at your 7-pound toy poodle in the little carrier, like, ugh, why can't you do that? Well, I'm very happy to say that you blaming yourself is just as ridiculous as that scenario. Some may be tempted to think, oh, why couldn't I see through him or her or even them? Why didn't I have better discernment? Why did I ever trust this person? Why did my family trust them? It could be because you were mentally no match for that sick mind. You couldn't recognize these character flaws. This person was an excellent liar, cheater, manipulator. This person was excellent at sneaking and deceiving. Nature teaches us that we should be able to trust. Definitely our caregivers. I mean, a parent, a step-parent, a coach, a teacher, a religious leader. We should be able to trust these people. It's not your fault that you trusted. And so here in this video, I have given you 3 reasons why you absolutely can never blame yourself for the sexual abuse that you experienced. Number 1, you were not properly trained or prepared for such an emergency. Secondly, you might have been physically incapable of handling the assault. And you were definitely mentally unprepared for the mental sick, scheming predator. And I just want to say that if you have other reasons why no sexually abused person should ever blame themselves, I'd love to hear from you. Please comment below. And if you can relate to anything that I have talked about in this video, let me know. Share this with your friends. Share this with anyone that you think might be in this situation, might have been in this situation, because self-blame has so much repercussions and it doesn't need to continue at all. Asking yourself why. I hope that I have given some reasons to why, that you can rest now and leave those why questions alone and proceed with your healing. Again, this is your friend Nisi. I'm so glad that you came to visit my channel. Please share, please comment below. I'd love to hear from you.